And welcome everybody to my 3 picks. Each week, me and the coin, we pick 3 games against the spread. And before we go over our results from last week's picks, as you can tell by looking over my right shoulder, rest in peace to one of the most popular actors, certainly in my generation, Burt Reynolds, who acted in about 100 movies. Of course, was known for Deliverance, The Longest Yard, and a movie I had probably watched 36 times growing up, Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, he's always going to be a bandit to me. The cool mustache, of course, making the Trans Am even a cooler vehicle. Burt Reynolds is legendary, and he was the highest grossing actor in Hollywood from the late 70s to the early 1980s. He was bigger than life, and he had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun watching him. So rest in peace to Burt Reynolds, who passed away at the age of 82. Now for the difficult segue, let's review last week's picks. Well, to quote Meatloaf, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And that was my record in week number 1, 2-1 against the spread. The coin and I both liked Michigan and Notre Dame at that under position. The total I thought was a little too high, so I went with the under. The coin did too, so we both come out winners there. And we both lost on B.Y.U. and Arizona. And it could very well be a long year for Kevin Summerlin unless things change fast. Arizona disappointed me. B.Y.U., well, I underestimated them. So we both lost. The difference between the coin and yours truly was Louisville, Alabama. Alabama was only giving 24. That was an easy winner as the Tide rolled and rolled big time to more than a 24-point win. The coin thought that Louisville would cover. So the coin is at 1-2 for week 1. Now, time for week number 2 and our picks. We're going to begin on the West Coast with a primetime game. In fact, we're going to highlight a couple of primetime games for this week. Palo Alto, California, site of the Southern Cal-Stanford game. 2 teams that figured to be a factor toward the end of the season when it comes to Pac-12 championship contention. USC coming off a win over UNLV, but USC is young in various spots, real young, and their rush defense was terrible. The Trojans, despite beating the running Rebels, gave up over 300 rushing yards. And now they're going against maybe the best running back in the country in Bryce Love. And I know that Bryce last week had less than 30 yards rushing, but Stanford still won the game anyway. And again, considering that USC has difficulty stopping the run, I think this matchup big time favors the Cardinals. So give me Stanford minus the 6.5. If the coin lands on heads, likes the favorite. Tails is going to go with the underdog. And the coin is going to go with Stanford as well. Next, a matchup in Pennsylvania, an interstate showdown between the Nittany Lions and the Panthers, also in prime time. Yeah, Penn State, they survived a big scare last week, and probably aren't giving Appalachian State enough credit. I mean, I commend those guys. They played a hell of a game. Should have beaten Penn State, but the Nittany Lions found a way to force overtime and win in the extra session. And all that matters in the end is that Penn State got the win. It doesn't matter by how many, but they got the win. But they can't play like that again, and I don't think that they will. I think Penn State goes into Pittsburgh. Remember the Panthers last year? Despite beating Miami, still finished with a losing record of 5-7 and bowl ineligible. I think this is a talent mismatch. And I think James Franklin, once again, will prove that he's one of the best coaches in college football. He'll have his Nittany Lions prepared and fired up, and I don't think that they will overlook Pittsburgh. So give me Penn State on the road minus the 8, and the coin, let's give it a good flip. It's going to go with Penn State as well. And finally, yes, it's an early SEC showdown. Second Saturday of September, and they're beginning conference play, and it's a big one between Georgia and South Carolina. Game will be played at Columbia SC. And Georgia, yeah, so close to winning the national championship last year, taking on the South Carolina squad that I think will be a factor in the SEC East. Georgia, they're still talented on defense. On the other hand, though, it's going to be a rocking environment, which I think helps out South Carolina a little bit. I don't see a lot of points in this ballgame. I just don't. Right now, the total is at 55.5, and that is what I'm going to play, okay? I'm not going to worry about the Georgia minus 10-point spread. I'm more intrigued by the total. So in this case, give me the under, okay? Give me the under on the Georgia-South Carolina total. Again, it's at 55.5. The coin lands on heads. It likes the over. Tails is going to go with the under. And the coin, it lands on tails, so it likes the under. So obviously, yours truly and the coin, we agreed on every single matchup. That doesn't happen too often. So my picks, those are the coin's picks. What were yours? Don't forget, on Saturday, September the 8th, I'll have my post-game show Saturday afternoon, not long after the conclusion of Oklahoma against UCLA. And of course, don't forget to join us back next week on this very webpage. Please subscribe if you haven't done so, and we'll have another edition of My 3 Picks. Thanks for watching, and rest in peace, Burt Reynolds.